Welcome everyone to another Educators in VR event. This is my favorite. I love when we do this every year. I want to welcome everyone, all the students and teachers from Mount Royal University in Calgary. Dr. Anthony Cheston, who I'm going to introduce here in a moment, and Tony and I have been working on this project for so many years, and we are so thrilled to do this in Engage XR, where they support research and immersive education. We just absolutely love working with them. And every year we bring the students together, every semester we bring the students together to have them put together a live presentation in VR. Many of them, this is their first time they've ever been in VR, to work with some strict boundaries and limits, but they're pushing the limits of Engage XR to bring you some amazing information and research on mental health therapies using XR technology. So my name is Laurel Van Fossen. I'm the Director of Educators in VR, and I want to introduce you Dr. Anthony Chaston, our professor. Yay, all you.
Hey, Laurel, thank you. Welcome, everybody. I don't have too much to say here. I'm going to leave the floor to the students. Obviously, this is their day. But yes, Laurel and I have worked on this project for many years, and it's wonderful to now move it into Engage. We're seeing what the students are able to do with these environments. It's really exciting. Look, we're in an aquarium. I mean, so the only thing I will say today is, for anyone who's here and is listening to this presentation, just a reminder that we'll be talking about I love the royal we. I will not be saying anything. My group will be talking about issues related to psychology, psychological therapy, and so forth. But just a reminder, these are not trained people to train clinicians. This is an educational and informational event. These are university undergraduate students who are happy to share with you very well researched information, but are not training you to go off and conduct therapy and so forth. So that's my little disclaimer that I have to put at the beginning of every one of these types of events. So I'm done now. I will pass the floor over to group number 2. Again, we got to get better names. Group 2, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our virtual aquarium escape. Thank you so much for taking a seat on the benches. My name is Cinnamon Roll, and I am a staff here at the Engage Aquarium. And I am here with 2 researchers, along with our staff, who will be supporting you throughout your time here. Thanks for joining us today. So today we'll start off by sharing some facts and information about marine animals. Then we'll cover their impact on humans physically and cognitively, and we'll also look into water therapy and virtual reality. After the presentation, we'll take you upstairs to view the aquarium firsthand. We hope your immersion in this environment can reduce any stress or anxiety you might be carrying with you at this time. Please ensure you also have a pencil and paper, or you have your devices ready to jot down quick answers for a survey after the presentation. I'll give you guys a minute to organize that. Okay. I think we can get started. So first up, we have the great white shark, and it's the largest predatory fish in the ocean. Its torpedo-shaped body allows it to swim fast and strike prey efficiently. They can swim up to 36 kilometers per hour and have advanced senses in smell and electroreception. They can grow up to 21 feet, which is around the size of a standard school bus, and they weigh around 4,500 pounds. With the females usually being larger than the males. The appearance of the great white shark is a gray top and white under, allowing it to have counter shading and camouflage. This helps them blend into the ocean from above and below. They have about 300 serrated teeth, and these are constantly replaced during their lifetime. As for their diet and habitat, they eat seals, fish, and marine animals. You can find great white sharks near seal colonies in temperate tropical coastal waters worldwide. Taking this information together, great white sharks might seem feisty and intimidating and may have spiked some fear in some of you. But an important fact about the great white shark is that despite their reputation, they're not naturally aggressive towards humans. So hopefully this gives you some ease. Next, let's take a look at dolphins. Dolphins are marine animals, which means that they breathe air using their lungs. They're very intelligent and social and live in pods, which are a group of dolphins. For behavior and communication, they use echolocation to locate and navigate their food. And they also often hunt cooperatively within their pods. To speak, they use whistles, clicks, and body language. They eat fish, squid, and small marine animals, and are found in oceans and some rivers worldwide. You can typically expect to see them in warm and temperate coastal waters. Their cute and playful behavior can help improve mood and is even used in some animal-assisted therapy programs. It's associated with stress reduction and emotional well-being. Have any of you swam with dolphins before and are willing to share their experience? You can unmute. Oh, I see Laurel here. You have some hearts going on.
Yeah, sure. I swam with dolphins in Mexico and I literally left like crying because I was like, this was so incredible. It made me so emotional. It was an amazing experience.
Oh, that is so lovely to hear. Yeah, so it is, the dolphins are associated with stress reduction and emotional well-being. So I'm glad that you had that experience. That sounds really fun. Thank you so much for sharing, you guys. That was really good. Yeah, so we have sea otters now. Sea otters are also marine mammals and live along coastal waters, mainly in the Pacific Ocean. They're known for their playful behavior and use of tools. They're very resourceful and use rocks and tools to open shells. Since they have no blubber, their fur is very dense to stay warm. You'll find them floating on their backs and often holding their hands together so that they stay put. Their diet consists of sea urchins, clams, and other shellfish. For those of you that use social media, you might have come across playful videos of sea otters on your feed. I know I love to watch those cute videos. If you have seen sea otters or videos of sea otters, did you notice an improvement in your mood during or after watching them? You guys can either click like an emotion, or you can also unmute if you'd like. Laurel's putting up some hearts. I see some hearts in the back there as well. Yeah, so I know I always giggle or laugh or smile a little bit after seeing a sea otter video, especially like if I was a little bit down that day and then you see a cute video of a sea otter playing, it can really lift up your mood. Sea otters can actually improve mood and create positive emotional responses. Their playful nature makes them engaging and enjoyable to observe. So next time you're feeling a little bit down, try watching a short Instagram reel of a sea otter and see if your mood improves a little bit. Next up, we have the fish that is widely known as Nemo, also known as the clownfish. They're small marine fish found in warm ocean waters and live in symbiosis with sea anemones. As seen in the picture, they're bright orange in color with white stripes. They're also resistant to anemone stings due to a protective mucus layer. Their diet consists of small plankton, algae, and leftover food. You can find them in tropical coral reefs, especially in the Indo-Pacific region. Their bright colors and smooth swimming are visually calm and often associated with relaxation and aesthetic enjoyment when observed. Next up, we have sea turtles. They are marine reptiles that live in oceans worldwide. They breathe air but spend most of their time underwater. Turtles are known for their slow and steady movement in and out of the ocean. Sea turtles have a long lifespan and strong navigational abilities. Using their flippers to swim long distances, they return to the same beaches to lay their eggs. As for their diet, it can vary from seagrass, jellyfish, algae, or sponges. And you can find sea turtles in tropical and subtropical oceans, commonly near coasts and coral reefs. With their calm and slow behavior, what do you think you would feel if you went snorkeling and saw a turtle? Or maybe you were on a beach and then you saw a turtle walking around? Feel free to unmute.
I know my mom is from Albania and there's lots of turtles around there. So since I was little, that's kind of a thing where like when I see them, it's like, it was kind of like always an amazing thing or very cool to see.
Yeah, that's great. And have you ever seen one in real life?
Yeah, they tend to be like on beaches.
Oh, that's really cool. Do you mind explaining like what emotions you might have felt like when you first saw them?
Well, I think especially since I was little, excitement at seeing them at first. But then also maybe they would make me think of like kind of how cool nature is. That would be more, I think, where my mind.
Yeah, that's great. What were you like? Did you feel a little bit scared, or were you more like calm and happy when you saw them?
I would say more calm and happy.
No, that's really good. Thank you so much for sharing. Since sea turtles have their slow and gentle movement, it can actually be very visually calming and can be associated with peace and relaxation. So hopefully one of you guys can encounter a sea turtle eventually. Lastly, we have jellyfish. These marine animals are found in oceans worldwide and are made up of mostly water. They belong to a group called cnidarians. They're soft-bodied and have no bones and move by pulsing their bell-shaped body. They use tentacles with stinging cells to capture prey and drift with ocean currents rather than actively swimming. Their diet consists of small fish, plankton, and other tiny marine organisms. You can find jellyfish in both shallow and deep ocean waters, so be careful wherever you go snorkeling. You might see a jellyfish. When we look at jellyfish pulsing through the water, their slow flowing movement can appear hypnotic and calming. This is often associated with relaxation and visual tranquility. Okay, so if we go back to the last slide, that will conclude all of the marine animals that I will be discussing today. If you had to choose an emotional support animal that helps you feel less stressed and overall improves your mood, which one would it be and why? And which animal would you maybe not choose because it might spike some fear or stress in you?
If I was picking, I can mention, if I was picking from the ones that you listed, I would pick the sea turtle. I've seen sea turtles. I've also had the opportunity to been snorkeling and had sea turtles approach me or just be below, really like down where you can watch them from above. Like, 'cause you don't want to approach them, but they're amazing to watch. It's just, it's mesmerizing. And you're right, they move in such a gentle and relaxing way. So, but they're not as good as dogs, but you know, they're close.
Okay, yeah. I've also seen some sea turtles where it's really cool and they're super chill and super slow moving, so you don't feel scared or stressed that they might attack you. So yeah, it's a fun experience to have. Would anyone else like to share, or maybe a marine animal that they wouldn't want to have?
You know, the animal that I think that I would like to be around would probably be the dolphin. That kind of goes back to a childhood memory about watching this show called Flipper. So I think I could probably get along good with the dolphin as a support animal. You know, I could avoid the jellyfish and the shark. I could leave them alone all day long. I don't have any need for those two.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing, everyone. Yeah, so as we have seen, some certain animals can make us feel calm or stressed, and we will now discuss the science behind why this happens to us. So we'll hear from our two researchers at the aquarium about the impacts of nature therapy and marine life on stress, anxiety, and mental health. These concepts include cognitive processes, stress and relaxation mechanisms, water therapy, and virtual reality.
Thank you, Cinnamon Roll. Now we're going to dive into the cognitive processes and its relation to stress. To begin, here's what we're going to walk through together. First, I'll talk about how stress affects cognitive processes, things like memory, attention, and decision-making. Then we'll go deeper into what chronic, long-term stress does to the brain physically. After that, I'll show you what a relaxed, calm state does to restore the mind. And then we'll look at how nature, and specifically water and aquatic environments, produces those calming effects. Finally, I'll explain why the ocean is especially powerful compared to other kinds of nature. Let's start with what stress actually does to your thinking. Most of us have experienced this firsthand. You're overwhelmed and suddenly you can't remember where you put your keys, you can't focus in class, or you make a decision you later regret. Stress directly disrupts several key cognitive processes. According to Sandy et al. 2013, stress affects 4 major areas. First is memory, which is how information is learned, stored, and later recalled. Attention is the next one, which is our ability to stay focused on relevant information. Learning, our capacity to take in new knowledge. And lastly, decision-making, the quality of the choices we make under pressure. Now, it's important to note that not all stress is bad. Mild, short-term stress, like the kind you might feel right before a presentation, can actually sharpen your focus temporarily and boost performance. But the critical variable is how intense the stress is and how long it lasts. When stress becomes high in intensity or chronic, the effects flip from helpful to harmful. Cognitive functioning starts to break down across all of the domains I just mentioned. Chronic stress doesn't just affect how you feel, it physically changes the brain. A 2024 review identified 3 brain regions that take the hardest hit. First, the prefrontal cortex. This is the part of your brain that is the executive center. It handles decision-making, self-control, and cognitive flexibility. Under chronic stress, the prefrontal cortex becomes impaired, which means your ability to plan, regulate your emotions, and think flexibly starts to deteriorate. Second is the hippocampus. This is your brain's memory hub. It's responsible for forming new memories, learning new information, and spatial navigation. When it's under prolonged stress, you have difficulty creating new memories. Students experiencing chronic stress during exams are a perfect example. The very stress of studying can impair the learning they're trying to do. And third, the amygdala. This is the brain's alarm system. It processes emotion, fear, and our stress response. Under chronic stress, the amygdala becomes overactivated, which means heightened anxiety, more reactivity, and reduced ability to feel calm. This is directly linked to conditions like depression, anxiety, and PTSD. So what's the antidote? What happens when we shift from stress state into a relaxed one? A 2024 systematic review by Calgary et al. Looked at the neurobiological changes produced by mindfulness and relaxation practices. When we enter relaxed, mindful state, 4 key things improve. First thing that improves is attention. We can sustain focus without the constant noise of anxiety interrupting us. Then emotional regulation improves. We get better at managing our stress responses rather than being overwhelmed by them. Then our cognitive flexibility also improves. We become more capable of switching between tasks and thinking in new ways. Lastly, amygdala activity decreases, meaning that overactive alarm system calms down, reducing fear and emotional reactivity. Regular relaxation and mindfulness are associated with increased cortical thickness, meaning the brain physically grows in the regions involved in attention and self-control. A 2024 systematic review by Paradis et al. Synthesized studies on nature-based therapies. They found that exposure to natural environments significantly reduces stress, lowers anxiety, and improves mood. Cortisol, the hormone your body releases when stressed, drops measurably in participants who spend time in natural environments. This is really important because it suggests that for many people, nature might be more accessible and automatic to mental restoration. Now I want to address something that's especially relevant for our topic today. A remarkable 2025 study by Chen et al. Looked specifically at how virtual nature, which is videos, simulations, and VR environments of ocean, forest, and other natural scenes. The study found that even virtual exposure to natural environments significantly lowered anxiety and stress levels in healthy adults. The emotional regulation pathways, the relaxation response, the reduction in anxiety, all of it was still triggered even through a screen. This means that aquarium live streams, ocean videos, nature documentaries viewed for their calming effect aren't just passive entertainment, they may be delivering psychological and physiological benefits. So we know nature helps, but why is the ocean and aquatic environments particularly helpful? This connects to the broader theme my fellow researcher will be presenting on. First, it's a multisensory environment. The ocean hits you from every direction simultaneously. The sound of waves, the visual depth and movement of blue water, the scent of salt air, the physical sensation of sand or water itself. Each of those channels independently activates the body's relaxation pathway. Second, the ocean triggers something called involuntary attention restoration. The idea is that natural environments and water environments especially capture our attention. You don't have to concentrate on the ocean, your eyes are just drawn to it. And because it doesn't demand effortful attention, the prefrontal cortex, which is that overworked executive center, gets a genuine break. Third, aquariums deliver the same effect. Research has shown that watching fish in aquariums reduces heart rate, lowers blood pressure, and improves mood. You don't even need the full sensory immersion of the ocean. Even an indoor aquarium triggers these responses. And finally, what researchers call blue space, which is our aquatic and coastal environments, may actually be more effective than green space at producing stress relief. Studies suggest ocean environments are particularly good at reducing rumination cycles of anxiety and repetitive thinking that stress creates. So let me bring it all together. Here's what the science tells us. Stress disrupts memory, attention, and learning and decision making, especially when it becomes chronic. Chronic stress damages the prefrontal cortex and hippocampus and overactivates the amygdala. A relaxed, mindful state reverses those effects. Nature exposure, including aquatic environments, reduces cortisol and anxiety. And even virtual exposure to an ocean and nature scenes delivers real benefits, making these tools accessible to almost everyone. Now, knowing all of this, the water environments can calm the brain, lower cortisol, and restore attention. I want to ask everyone something. Has anyone here ever felt genuinely calmer or more relaxed after being near water or listening to sounds, whether that's the ocean, a lake, a pool, or an aquarium? Please share your experience with us. Please feel free to unmute. Yes, Coco, I think.
Yeah, I actually listen to ocean sounds every night. I have this alarm clock called the Hash, and I like have it so it plays ocean sounds at a certain time. So yeah, that helps me fall asleep.
I actually do that as well, especially when I'm stressed the night before an exam. I like to listen to like relaxed wave sounds or even rain sounds. They help me go to sleep. Anyone else that would like to share?
Yes. I live near a body of water, and whenever I feel stress or anxiety, I go and sit down on the dock by the water. But I love aquariums, and the ocean and lakes and streams have always been a place where I've spent a lot of meditative time and just time of introspection. So I feel very comfortable, very relieved, and stress seems to dissipate whenever I'm near a body of water. And like was also said, I also listen to aquatic sounds when I just want to relax at home and just put on some sounds like that. It's just very relaxing and healing.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I agree. Whenever I don't live by a body of ocean, but I wish I did. Whenever I visit Vancouver, sometimes I just have to sit there for hours in front of the ocean and just relax. I don't have any thoughts. I just sit there listening to the calming water. Anybody else?
Well, for me, it's mountains. I love the mountains, and so for me, mountain streams, little rivers. I've spent my life backpacking and hiking, and mostly in the Canadian Rockies and in the mountains here. And so for me, those quiet little creeks, the little tiny streams, and all of those kinds of places, little lakes in the backcountry that I've hiked into, those are for me the most beautiful places in the world. And so they're the sort of the ultimate in relaxation and calm places. Like those would be the places, like if I'm stressed and I need to go to like a calm place in my mind, that's where I would go.
Absolutely. And we're very privileged living in Alberta, having the mountains close by. I also agree with that. Whenever I go hiking and we find a little stream that nobody else has seen or nobody else is there, I kind of feel connected to the water or ocean, or I mean, not ocean, the stream. Well, thank you so much for sharing, everybody. It seems like we all have experienced something like this, but what if this feeling could be used as a form of therapy? This is what my fellow researcher, Emmy, will be exploring next: water therapy and virtual reality therapy.
Thank you, Tweety. That was a great overview. Hi, guys. I'm Emmy. So I focus on the research behind why aquarium environments are calming and how virtual reality can strengthen those effects. I specifically looked at 3 peer-reviewed studies. One was an experimental study on aquarium viewing, one was a systematic review of multiple aquarium-related studies, and the third looked at effectiveness of virtual reality therapy for anxiety. I'm going to explain why these studies found about stress, mood, and how immersive environments can influence psychological well-being. So, starting with water environments, both the experimental study and the review paper suggest that aquatic environments can have a positive impact on psychological well-being. The Kraken et al. Study explains that natural environments, including aquariums, are associated with reductions in stress and improvements in mood. This is linked to broader theories like attention restoration and stress recovery, which suggests that natural settings allow the brain to recover from mental fatigue. The review study by Clements et al. Also supports this idea. Across multiple studies, they found that people often report feeling more relaxed, less stressed, and more positive when interacting with aquariums or watching fishes. One important point is that these environments don't overload the brain. Instead, they provide gentle, continuous stimulation, which helps people stay engaged without feeling overwhelmed. This seems to support emotional regulation and relaxation all at the same time. One of the strongest pieces of evidence comes from the experimental study by Cracknell et al. In this study, the researchers wanted to directly test how aquariums affect people both psychologically and physically. They created 3 different aquarium conditions. One tank had no fish, another had a small number of fish, and the third had a larger number of fish. Participants were exposed to each of these conditions, and the researchers measured several things. They looked at physiological responses like the heart rate and blood pressure, as well as psychological responses like mood. They also measured how long participants chose to stay and watch the aquarium, which reflects engagement. The results show a clear pattern. As the number of fishes increased, participants showed a greater reduction in heart rate, which suggests lower stress. Their mood also improved, and they spent more time watching the aquariums. This is important because it shows a dose-response effect, meaning that more complex and dynamic environments led to stronger positive effects. So it's not just the presence of water, but also the level of activity and visual interests that matter. To support these findings, the systematic review by Clements et al. Looked at 19 studies on interactions with fish and aquariums. They examined both psychological outcomes like mood, relaxation, and anxiety, and physiological outcomes like heart rate and stress responses. Overall, many of the studies reported positive effects. People often experience increased relaxation, improved mood, and reduced stress when watching fish or maintaining aquariums. However, the review also highlighted that the findings were mixed. Some studies did not find significant changes in mood or anxiety compared to control groups. This is important because it shows that while aquariums can have positive effects, the strength of those effects can vary depending on factors like the setting, duration of exposure, and how the study was designed. So overall, the evidence leans positive, but it's not completely consistent across all situations. Moving into virtual reality, the third study I looked at focused on virtual reality exposure therapy, also known as VRE CBT. This type of therapy combines virtual reality with cognitive behavioral therapy techniques. It allows individuals to be placed in immersive environments where they feel like they are actually present. One key concept here is the idea of presence, which means that the user's brain responds to the virtual environment as if it's real. This makes the experience more impactful compared to just imagining a situation or looking at a screen. Another advantage is that VR allows for controlled exposure. Therapists can adjust the environments and the level of intensity, which makes it safer and more flexible than real-world exposure. This is especially useful for anxiety disorders where gradual and controlled exposure is an important part of treatment. The study by Van Loenen et al. Was a meta-analysis, which means it combined results from 16 randomized controlled trials with a total of 817 participants. They compared virtual reality exposure therapy to 2 conditions, a waitlist group, meaning no treatment, and traditional cognitive behavioral therapy. The results show that VR therapy was significantly more effective than no treatment in reducing anxiety symptoms. It also performs similarly to traditional CBT, which is considered a gold standard treatment. The therapy was used for a range of disorders, including PTSD, social anxiety disorder, panic disorder, and generalized anxiety disorder. When we connect all of this back to our project, we are essentially combining 2 evidence-based approaches. From the aquarium research, we know that aquatic environments can reduce stress, improve mood, and support relaxation, especially when they're visually engaging. From the VR research, we know that immersive environments can produce real psychological effects and are effective in reducing anxiety. By combining these, our VR aquarium has the potential to enhance relaxation even further. The immersive aspect of VR can make the calming effects of the aquarium feel more real and more engaging. So overall, our project is grounded in research that supports both the calming effects of aquariums and the effectiveness of our virtual reality as a psychological tool. I'll now pass it over to Sweet Potato for our little survey.
Thank you to our 3 researchers. Now we are going to ask you to complete the short survey before we go upstairs into the aquarium space. Please be as accurate as possible and keep track of your answers until after the experience. You can write it down in a piece of paper or you can use your phone as well. For the first part of the survey, please use a number between 1 and 10 to rank how you feel right now for the following items. 1 being not at all and 10 being quite a lot. And for the second part, please rate your current stress level with a number between 1 to 100, 1 being no stress and 100 being extremely stressed.
And once everyone is finished with the survey, could you please just come and join me out in the area where you first spawned in? So as you enter the aquarium, you will notice information boards and a fun scavenger hunt. Please take your time in the space as you read and complete the game, acknowledge the animals and the environment, and see if you can recognize the species that we discussed in the presentation. Try to fully immerse yourself in the space, listen to the sounds of water, and let whatever stress or anxiety you're holding on to melt away. Please keep your mics muted as this is meant to be as immersive as possible. This is a safe place to relieve tension and induce calming feelings. After a period of time, the water effects will be taken off and I will ask you to come back down here and join us in a short debrief section. The portals to come back down here are indicated on the walls of the aquarium with exit signs. You may now proceed to the left or the right upstairs into the aquarium. So as you make your way into here, feel free to have a seat or you can stand. We are going to do a follow-up survey. So it's the same survey that you already did. We're just going to ask that you do it again. And the goal is that you compare your answers and hopefully whatever stress rating you had before entering the experience has decreased. And once you are finished doing this second portion of the survey, if you could just send up some sort of emoji that lets us know that you're finished, we'll move on to our debrief. Perfect. So I think most of us are done. Is there anybody that would like to share their experience from inside the aquarium, or if their stress ratings decreased, or any sort of feedback that you would like to share?
Yeah, I'd say my stress rating actually went down. So that's cool. And it was a really beautiful aquarium, so thank you for sharing.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you. That's exactly what we were aiming for. We wanted to kind of give you an example of what nature therapy or this kind of therapy in a virtual space would be like. So that's exactly what we were hoping for. Would anyone else like to share?
Can I jump in a little bit?
Yes, please do.
I like how some of how the questions that you've asked here, the I feel tense, I feel overwhelmed, I feel calm, those are taken from the state anxiety inventory, if I'm correct, right?
Right. Yes, they are.
Yeah, it's fun, hey? How that you can take something that's more of a formal test, but you can also use it in a much more informal way like this, knowing that those are fairly valid questions that have actually been validated, but yeah, you can still use them in a nice informal way like this as well. So yeah, those should be, even just that 4 set should actually be a reasonably valid assessment of someone's stress level, believe it or not.
Yeah, we
Also-
kind of. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to comment that I found the aquarium really beautiful. I really liked it was a really creative idea to turn that building into basically an aquarium, like a big round building like that's actually the kind of thing you see it in an aquarium. So it was a really creative idea, and I think it really worked well.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we were super fortunate to have that building to be able to use for the aquarium. It was a little tricky to find out how we wanted to use it, but the kind of transparent glass looking effect we really liked. So it worked out really nicely.
To add to that, Tony, I really got the idea for those surveys from in class when you were talking about the blood pressure machines and some, so that you can really like tell if you're being relaxed by nature, really sets immediately. And so I really got that idea for the survey, actually get a tangible evidence of what.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things you guys did really well here is you use the premise of a simulation. So when we talk about different styles, like, you know, walking tours and so forth, basically what you centered this around a simulation, which is a really cool idea, that you took us as if we went to an aquarium, and you even started it with that, you know, that idea as if you worked at the aquarium kind of premise. And so I think that that's a really great way to kind of deliver this content, because you can kind of talk about the academic content, but the beauty of the digital environment allows us to kind of experience what you're trying to tell us at the same time. So academically, you're saying, here's a whole bunch of academic evidence that this works or could work or whatever. And at the same time, we're getting to kind of get a sense of that experience ourselves. And that's kind of the beauty of this interface, right? That you can't do very easily in other interfaces. So I thought you captured that really well.
So we're running out of time, but I'd love to know from the team that did this, what lessons did you learn in this process? Please share.
I would say for the builders, we for sure learned patience, because this was a huge learning curve to come in here.
Welcome to my world.
Having no idea how to build anything. The aquarium itself was super challenging because we had to basically layer a ton of components just to even make the floor and cover the floor that was already there. So we really just kind of had to play around a lot to get it to look how we wanted. But I think that by the end of the experience, a lot of us were actually having fun, and we were like looking forward to coming in and doing this rather than like dreading it. So that was good.
I guess the comparison is more fun than the alternative, which would be like, you know, a term paper or, you know, so it's all relative too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's what we hope, right? That the students kind of engage in it, that you kind of have fun with it, that you realize that this in and of itself, it's, as we said, this is a version of what we call experiential learning. You learn by doing here, right? Like that's what we're trying to achieve here, as opposed to your classic just theoretical learning. We're trying to combine some theoretical learning with experiential learning. And when I hear you say that you got into building it because you started to understand what you were trying to achieve with it, that's heartening, right? That's what we're doing this for.
I remember, Laurel, getting some help from you at the beginning of building and being like, I'm not your person. I'm not really like, this isn't my favorite thing. And you were like, well, I hope it is by the end. And I was like, oh, I don't think so. In my head, like, I don't really like this. But now I do. I actually see myself coming back in the future outside of class to like play around with these worlds. And it was a really good learning experience on just how to build and how to have fun in here.
That's what we want.
Shout out to Lance, because he was so helpful, like with our chairs, especially. Like I messaged him and he was in here like immediately helping us. So we're so grateful. Thank you, Lance.
Yeah, I honestly, we have the Educators in VR has the best team in VR ever. We really do. Love it. Oh, well, Tony, again, blown away by this amazing class and this beautiful work. We have another session tomorrow on safe steps VR emotional support experience. Boy, that's going to be interesting. And really, and next week, another set of 2 sessions on Tuesday and Wednesday. Really excited about what you all have done. So proud of all of you for overcoming your doubts, your fears, your anxieties, your technical stuff that we all get all the time. Really well done. Really well done. Tony, any last thoughts?
Yeah, again, just want to reiterate, thanks guys. You are doing what we hope, right? Like these presentations are being creative. You're taking the space and looking at the tools that are here and trying to figure out how you can put the tools together with the story you want to tell about the academic topic. And it's really fun to come to these events. Like I'm looking forward to each one and coming to them. And I hope you're enjoying the idea of, university sometimes being something a little different than a traditional classroom, right? That we can branch out and we can explore. So great job, everyone. Thank you very much. And I look forward to tomorrow's presentation. I look forward to next week's presentations. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.